It's time to talk shit about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this is no, unknown thing about the state of it. Because holy shit. Where do I begin? Well, probably the beginning. Anyway. So the game was announced in 2012. I didn't know it was. Not gonna lie. I'm not really a CD Projekt fan, or have ever been, because I'm just an outsider looking in. I didn't know they made The Witcher 3, which I hear is a fantastic game, and they were able to get it on the Switch, which is fucking impressive for that weak of a console in comparison to the PS4 and the Xbox One. Anyway, let's get on track here. So, the game was announced 2012 for the PS4 and Xbox One. And of course, we were like, cool, I guess. Or they were like, cool. When's it coming out? Nobody knew. It just was kind of, for me, it just was like it disappeared. I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, we had Keanu Reeves come on stage and talk some good stuff about it, because he is in the game, I suppose. And they were really trying to hype this game up as if it were some type of brand new next generation experience that we've never had before in any kind of game. Well, it came around, let's see, when did it release? December 15th, or right around there, December 10th or 15th. And it was delayed a few times. And I was like, all right, yeah, a delayed game is better than, shipping out a broken game. We've seen broken games in the past, and they are tragic, to say the least. Now, this development hell was a lot different than probably, say, one of the biggest hype games that turned out to be subpar or, relatively good to some people, Final Fantasy 15. I can't go a video or two without talking about it, but this is a great example. A lot of people like to, talk shit about 15 for being a bad game, a broken game, with no content. Okay, I can give you a little bit of credit on with the small amount of content that the game has. Does it mean I didn't enjoy it? No, I enjoyed it a lot. Unlike some people who are diehard Final Fantasy fans, you know who I'm talking about. It was just a very... It was an average game. It wasn't polished. I mean, they kind of made it better over time with DLC and free updates and just little additions that should have been there from the start, like playing as all the characters. What the fuck? We had to wait till every single DLC episode came out for that. But I don't want to be talking about that yet, because we're going to be talking about 2077, like I said. It was in development hell for 8 years. Came out, and it was... holy... just wow. It was completely broken. And it's kind of strange when they told reviewers that they couldn't use their own footage when reviewing the game, just, some stock footage or something that CD Projekt Red would provide. And when I heard that, I'm like, that's pretty fucking fishy. And we didn't see anything really much on the game until it released. And oh my god. I mean, I know there are people out there that are enjoying the game, on their PCs or their Xbox One X's, or and I believe it also works on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So, oh lord, this game was a fucking mess. To the point where Sony, who never does this, because they have a shitty return policy, offered returns for this game because it was so fucking broken on the PS4, the base PS4, mind you. The game that it was originally announced for, those consoles, the base PS4 and base Xbox One. I can't even imagine what it looks like on the base Xbox One. Yeah, it looks okay on the Xbox One X. As my friend said, it runs okay for him. But the glitches, the graphics are absolutely terrible in comparison to what we were being shown. Some characters look like freaking N64 characters or models. It's funny, but it's sad. How do we have a game like this release as it is? It's a big reason probably why Sony took it off the fucking store, because it was that broken. And the fact that it was like it was a complete lie in terms of what they were going to give us. Now, I don't really blame the developers on this. It's more so probably the management and the actual publisher itself. And that created quite an issue. They needed more time. But no, they wanted to get it out for the Christmas season. And that backfired so fucking hard. Was it worth it? Was it really worth just shipping a broken game just to meet some sales? To just only have everyone return the game? And you even said, yeah, you probably should, get a refund on the game. Because, yeah, that's bad that even that frickin' the developers of it, or not developers, Cyberpunk 2077's publisher had to say. They're like, we're sorry that we released a broken game in absolutely the worst possible conditions. You can we're telling you you could possibly go get a freaking refund from Sony and Microsoft. Microsoft is a lot better with the return policy because you can have the game for 2 weeks and play it less than, I don't know if I know Steam, you can't play it for more than 2 hours, but Microsoft is far more lenient with return policies because they have so much fucking money. So it won't matter to them. And the fact that Sony took the game off the PlayStation Store shows just how fucking broken it is. We had Fallout 76 come out on that thing, and it wasn't removed. Yeah, it was playable, but it was nowhere like this. Just look at glitch compilations of Cyberpunk. It's funny, but it's really sad. I feel bad for the fans of CD Projekt Red that have waited for this game for such a long time, but damn, it's just, that stings. If I were a fan of, CD Projekt Red and all their games and this hype train that's been going on for 8 years, I don't think they're going to recover from that. They tarnished themselves with just one game. Apparently, they were the pro-consumer kind of company, as in free DLC and stuff like that. Like, holy shit. And not just, little bits of content. We're talking about, like, huge expansion packs for, say, The Witcher 3. Like big. So, that's really good, okay? I want to know what the hell happened behind the scenes, really. Because the developers are also, I think 2 of them were fucking pissed at the management. And I honestly have to say it was probably bad management that screwed this game over. And, oh my god, it is so hard to wrap my mind around it, of how fucked up this game came out. Like I said, Final Fantasy 15 was not in the greatest shape when it came out, but the game was fucking playable, and it was at a stable 30 frames per second. It did eventually get the update on the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X to run around 60-ish. Better than 30, trust me. The response time was just so much better. But that was I thought that was an awful, type of development hell. But this this takes the cake. Takes the shit cake, man. And that's not good. And I also heard that they have, well, not heard, have read that they lost about $1 billion on this game because of the returns. So really, again, was it worth rushing the game out just to meet holiday sales? I don't think it was it? They could have just waited a few more months and then just canceled the technically now last gen versions of the game and just optimized it for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S and PC. Clearly on PC it's doing better. And of all platforms, Stadia, it runs better on Stadia than most other, PCs and the consoles. That's kind of weird, but who would have seen that coming, to be honest? I didn't. So, the game came out as trash. They said they're going to fix it with patches. There's a item limit problem where if you have too many items in the game and you try to save your game, it can't be bigger than 2 megabytes or 8 megabytes, I believe. One of the two. Otherwise, it would corrupt and lose all your data. Really? And they said that they can't fix this? What the fuck? Could you imagine playing an RPG and you're grinding for, rare items and all that crap, and then you save the game and all of a sudden you try to go back into the game next day after you're done grinding for maybe a few hours, and it just comes out saying, no, your file's corrupted, we can't save it. It's like, oh no. No, I don't even think cloud backup saves can help you there. I mean, I honestly don't have a ton to say about this game other than that it came out as a complete broken mess. An unacceptable mess. Like, AAA games aren't normally supposed to be this bad. We've seen bad games from Ubisoft and who else? EA being either broken or just fucked up to begin with. I mean, look at Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was a complete disaster when it launched. It's better now, but it was a complete disaster at launch. Ubisoft's games, like with the Assassin's Creed games coming out every year for a bit, it wasn't good. I never was into the Assassin's Creed franchise, really. I tried Assassin's Creed 2, didn't care for it. But they did make up for it with, I believe, Odyssey it was. And then the newest one, Valhalla, I believe it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and I will not read them. No, I'm just kidding, I will. People don't really care about that game either. So, to any developers out there, don't release the game that you're working on in a broken condition like this. Let it be a lesson to never do this ever again. Like, I know I shilled for Final Fantasy 15 and how anti-consumer it really was with releasing the DLC that was supposed to be in the fucking game to begin with. You could see bits and pieces of it if you were able to break out of bounds of areas that were being worked on, like Episode Prompto. You could actually see parts of it in Niflheim. And it's like, oh, Jesus. And someone was able to find Ignis's DLC area. It's kind of sad that these AAA developers are pushing these, well, not developers, these AAA publishers are just trying to shove these games out as fast as they can to make their deadline, to make sure their shareholders are happy. But if you fuck over the gamer, the people that are going to be buying your games, you're going to end up losing trust for them, or I can't word it correctly. We're not going to trust you from there on out, really. We're going to be holding you accountable and keeping an eagle's eye on whatever game you're developing. I mean, Square Enix did make up for their freaking disastrous thing of Final Fantasy 15 with the Final Fantasy 7 remake. That's in my opinion, a very polished game. Beautiful. And I have not seen any glitches whatsoever when I played through it. And people bitch about that too, saying, oh, it's only part of the whole game. And I'm thinking, do you guys really want another Final Fantasy 15 situation where they release the game and it's like supposed to be a massive game, and only within a few years, and have massive amounts of things cut from the game that would either be later added or it would be just completely gone? Look at the entire region of Solheim. That was supposed to be in the game, but it never ended up being in there. Either was that or it was a different thing. Just look at all the trailers. You'll see areas that never appeared in the game. So, like I told, so this is sad, but we have to rely on indie developers more so now than any of these big companies, because they know that they don't want to fuck over their fan base, so they just are so pro-consumer with some of these games that they'll release free DLC. The games themselves will probably have more content than the fucking big games sometimes. I mean, like, a great indie studio I can think of that, like, started kind of but made a really good comeback was Playtonic Games, which is, if you don't know, the pretty much Rareware developers from the 90s coming together to make their own little indie studio. And they made Yooka-Laylee, which was an okay-ish game. I'm not really into collectathons anymore. But then they came back with a bang with The Impossible Lair being a 2D platformer. Considering I believe these guys were more so Donkey Kong Country vets, it just came out far better than I expected it to ever be. It's on Game Pass. Go download that shit. It's fucking fun. It's also on Switch. I wanted to get on Switch just because it felt more proper on there. And I tweeted at them saying, hey, maybe you guys should team up with Retro Studios to make a new Donkey Kong game, huh? It's been a little while since the second game. We can't have not have a third Donkey Kong game. I just told them that I'm happy you guys made a unofficial third Donkey Kong Country game in the modern era. And they actually, liked it and all that. I was like, what? So these indie devs are far more reliable and trustworthy because these guys are just, a lot of these guys are people around my age that would my God, I can't even put it into words. They are a big fan of games. They know how it works. And then they make an amazing product. Sonic Mania is a massive example of how the fans just know what's right. See, I went off on a random tangent. First I started off about bitching about Cyberpunk 2077, and now we're going off on indie devs. Whoop-de-doo. That's how my brain works. It just kind of goes on a tangent. But these are vlogs. These aren't supposed to be fancy scripted things. It's just, let's just talk about this and that. So, to conclude, I feel bad for the fans of, CD Projekt Red for being let down this hard. And the developers themselves, again, I don't blame, I feel bad for them for not being able to have enough time to finish the game. They should have just canceled the current or last gen versions in favor of the PS5 and Xbox Series X. That would have made far more sense. Even though we can't get our hands on any of these consoles because scalpers are a bunch of assholes. But that's okay. We can wait. We can wait. See, that's the thing. Gamers will wait. We don't want a rushed product. we were so used to games coming out every year or every 2 years, you know, about a decade ago or so. But that is just not the case anymore. These games take far more time to develop, and so much money goes into it. You know, it's basically every type of entertainment industry mixed into one. Music, movies, of course. Then you got programming, graphic design. Did I say graphic designers? You know, whatever. And art and artists, you know, making, you know, concept art for the game itself, and all this complicated nonsense. Not nonsense, but, you know, all this complicated stuff that is needed to make a really good game. But anyway, I've ranted on for 21 fucking minutes. Holy shit. I probably should end the video now. So, yeah. I'm Alex, and I will see you next time.